Hey, so the title of this session is Fun Games to Play on Zoom with Coworkers to Build Teamwork. So if you're looking for some fun games to play on your next Zoom meeting with your coworkers, if you want to build more team culture, then look no further. Here are some of the absolute best virtual games. And we're going to include both free games that any of you can kind of do for no cost whatsoever. And then I'll also give you some of my favorite fee-based games as well that you can play with your virtual group. Zoom, by the way, is currently claiming to have over 300 million daily users. Google Meet and Microsoft Teams each claim about 100 million daily users. So that means that each day, as many as 500 million people are still meeting virtually. And unfortunately, most of these virtual meetings are really, 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 really boring. They stink, right? So we want to change that. So back when, just so you guys know, back when COVID first hit in 2020, the virus scared many, many, many team members. They were, a lot of us were nervous about our business futures, and morale kind of plummeted worldwide. And as many teams, many of the teams that we're talking about here, they had to learn on the fly how to do their normal business via a virtual format like Zoom or Teams or Google and by a video call. Well, I mean, I'd like to say that our team at the Leaders Institute was way in front of the crowd at attempting, to get to a new normal. And I like to say that, but we had a couple. I'd like to say that because we had a couple of really distinct advantages. First, our company had we were a virtual company before we actually had a corporate office. So for the first 15 years of our existence, we were entirely virtual. So when COVID hit, we already had a lot of the structure in place to perform well virtually. So that helped. And the other advantage that we had was that we have a whole team of professional speakers who perform well in virtual meetings, have done so for years. So again, we had a great advantage there. However, the changes that came about with the COVID pandemic, they've never been seen before. So even though we had a couple of advantages, we still had a tough time adapting just like everybody else did. But there were a couple of things that if you understand these things before you try to just insert some kind of fun game into your virtual meeting, it really helps a lot. So before you decide on a fun game, understand the basics about virtual meetings. So let me kind of just give you a 5-minute overview as to some of the basics about virtual meetings. The first thing that you really have to understand is that most people see Zoom meetings or virtual meetings as being a one-way monologue from the organizer to the group. And because of this, many will shut off their microphones and videos. They'll turn off their videos and that kind of thing. So a simple heads up ahead of time will help your team be more willing to participate in virtual meetings. So you want to realize that most people hate virtual meetings. They would prefer not to participate. And so human nature is what it is. Most people hate meetings just in general, and more people hate virtual meetings. So organizing a great game, it's a fun way to get your team to kind of want to participate in the meeting. So this only works though if you choose a simple game that is neither cheesy nor juvenile. If either of those things are there, then people are going to resist it. So you just adding something fun to the meeting may actually get you a negative result. Like for instance, one of the games that I've seen shared all over the internet is a virtual scavenger hunt at home. And I'm sure there are a few really effective and talented speakers on Zoom who could pull a game like that off. I personally am not one of them, right? I think of myself as being a pretty good speaker, but if I tried to get my entire team to do a home scavenger hunt, I think it would come off really cheesy. Because if you think about it, what would be the actual purpose of the hunt? Go around your house and find something that starts with a P, or whatever, right? So how would you tie that scavenger hunt into the agenda of the rest of your meeting, right? So it might be fun, but it would just add an odd addition that doesn't really fit well. So anytime your team members feel uncomfortable participating, it could be that you have the opposite effect of building teamwork. You may actually build resistance to attending other virtual meetings. So you want to really stay away from the cheesy stuff. You want the odd stuff. Alternatively, though, let's say that you're onboarding new team members and you want to introduce them to your current team. Well, any type of getting to know you type game will actually work really well. It fits the purpose of the meeting, right? The game actually fits what's going on in the rest of the meeting. And as long as it's fun and interesting, then the people are going to appreciate it. So one of the things that we always suggest people do, by the way, is ask your team to show up to the virtual meeting with your microphone and camera on. I think it's a big mistake that I think I see folks make, especially the bigger that a meeting gets, the more people that you invite, the more likely the folks who organize it are to say, hey, come with your microphones off and your cameras off. Well, it's not going to be that interactive. So it's better if you ask your team to show up to the meeting with their microphone and camera on. Quite often just a simple warning can get your group to be more interactive. So since most people attend Zoom meetings with their cameras and videos off anyway, they're often going to assume that that's the norm and it's okay. But if you warn them ahead of time, if you don't warn them ahead of time, then they may be uncomfortable turning their cameras on. Their home office may be messy, or they might have a pet that craves attention. So here's a message that we tend to use, and it works really well. So basically, you can just kind of put your name if you're the person who's invited, and you can say, Doug has invited you to an interactive virtual team building activity. Our main goal is to have a little fun and build solid teamwork. To participate, you will get the best results by logging in on a computer or laptop versus mobile devices. Also, since the activity is interactive, you'll need to turn on your camera and microphone to participate. See you there. So something really simple, a simple heads up like that will help your virtual team, the game anyway, start off on the right foot. The other thing that we suggest people do is use breakout rooms to get a higher quality of interaction. So like for instance, when Zoom added breakout rooms to their platform, it was a game changer in online meetings. I mean, this really simple technology improvement, it's been a godsend for virtual games, especially. So when you play a fun game virtually, the bigger the group is, the less likely anyone will actually participate. For instance, let's say that you have 100 people on a video chat platform of some type, and you decide to play a trivia game with large groups like this, without breakout rooms, you're really going to have limited options. You can ask a question and wait for responses in chat, but with 100 people competing, though, keeping score is going to be really challenging. And however, with breakout rooms, you could actually create teams of 6 to 8 people, and then each group could have the same 10 trivia questions. You could send all the teams to a private room with each other, and then teams can choose a team leader to do a screen share and answer the trivia questions as a group. And then once the teams complete all 10 questions, have them quickly leave their breakout room to see who won. The first team to complete the challenges will return to the main session, and only the organizer is going to be there, right? So the second team will arrive shortly after the first, and so on until all the teams have completed the challenge. So depending on the culture of your team, the groups may kind of razz the second place and the third place team as they arrive. Hey, you guys, okay, we're a close second. We've only been finished for about 12 minutes. So you can really create. You can get really creative using the breakout rooms, by the way, as a way to increase discussion, share ideas, and really just get team members to interact better.